Good evening everyone and welcome back to League Racing TV for round 6 of the Division 3 title. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentalist. I will be taking you through proceedings as always for Division 3, and as always joining me in the commentary box today is Conti. How are you doing, mate?
I am doing really well. How are you, mate?
I'm doing pretty well. Unfortunately, a few of you guys would have noticed that I was a bit absent last night for the Formula 2. Wasn't at my best, but I'm nearing 100% again. So hallelujah, I'm able to commentate for today, which is great because I wouldn't want to miss a race so far for Division 3. It's fair to say that first 5 rounds of the season so far have been really, really exciting, and they've thrown up a lot of surprises so far. Do you think we'll see more of the same from Austria today?
Yeah, I hope so. And we've got a couple of new guys competing tonight, so we could be in for a surprise.
Definitely, yeah. Those couple new guys. We've got Iro Damon. He's a close friend of mine. I know him pretty well. I've commentated over him before as well in League of Europe on Saturdays. He's a relatively fast driver. I know personally from him that he has switched to a wheel now from pad, so he might not quite be on the pace that he usually is at, but he'll still be pretty competitive, I imagine. And then Langfell in the Williams. He is taking over today for Jay Bogan as part of the TNR team. I've not really seen Langfell drive anywhere. I don't think you have seen him anywhere either, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do in terms of his pace and whether he can help Williams further forward in the Constructors' Championship. But big news as well, Championship leader is back this weekend, and after last round it's going to be vital for him to get his momentum back because he's no longer technically the leader of the Championship.
Yeah, there's two now. T. Jonas and him together are leading the championship. So, yeah, let's see. He's had a strong performance so far, and yeah, I almost expect it to be another one.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, we've got really, really high expectations for F1 AMG. He's very, very fast. He's had 3 wins already this season. He's won 3 of the first 5 races, so he's had a great start to the season. But Sir Jonas has finished on the podium on 4 of those 5 occasions. The only time he was not on the podium was at Vietnam, and I believe in that race he was 4th anyway, so he wasn't really far off the podium positions. So he's had a really, really consistent season. It's just his qualifying that hasn't been his strong suit. He's usually qualified to the low side of the top 10 or outside of the top 10. He's very good at making the time up in the races, but that's one thing he's probably going to be wanted to be working on as the season goes on. Looking down the rest of the championship behind F1 AMG and Sir Jonas, who are equal on 104 points. Birchie still holds 3rd place at the moment on 87. He's had a really, really good start to the season. Mishiro now up to 4th after his first win last time out in Canada, and it was a pretty dominant win to say the least. He's up to 4th on 71 points, just ahead of Isotopic, who picked up his 2nd podium of the season last time out. Jan dropped to 6th after a poor performance in Canada, but he's level on points with Steve in the 2nd Red Bull. Had a Caesar in 8th, Jay Bogan in 9th, and Focky in the 2nd Hascar rounds off the top 10. A couple of drivers just below that, Simply Superman and Mark, are only 4 points outside the top 10. But looking at in the standings at the moment, I think one person that stands out to me, and probably stands out to you as well, is Isotopic. He joined the season a little bit late. He joined for Vietnam and didn't have the best of first races, but since then, his form has just been up and up and up, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's going up every race he drives. He's getting really good results. Couple of podiums as well. So yeah, he's doing really good. And to be honest, I didn't expect that when he joined and I saw his first race at Vietnam. But he's doing really, really good.
Yeah, he's doing a really, really good job. And it's the same really with Thor as well. Thor unfortunately wasn't here last week, but the 2 races before that, he struggled in qualifying in Zandvoort, but had really, really good race pace on the alternate strategy. Ultimately, before the race didn't go his way. And then again, it was really, really strong in Spain. He had really, really good speed there. So Thor could be one to look out for. He's been up and up in the second Alfa Romeo, so he could be another one to maybe challenge for a top 5 today.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's one of the dark horses. Don't really stand out, especially in the standings now, because he missed some races and was a bit unlucky. But he's doing really well, and yeah, if he has a clean race, he can definitely end up in the top 5.
Absolutely, yeah. Jan has retired from the session. I'm not quite aware whether he has some sort of qualifying ban. That may be why he has retired from the session already, which is a shame to see. He'll be starting 16th, but Austria as a circuit, relatively short circuit, quite a few laps, and quite an easy track to overtake on. There's a lot of overtaking opportunities here. What are you expecting kind of race-wise? Do you think we'll see something similar to Zandvoort, where it's difficult to overtake, or do you think we'll see more aggressive driving from the guys today and trying to get moves stuck really, really quickly?
No, the Zandvoort was really, really narrow. You've got a lot more room here to overtake. The thing is that there's a pretty tight corners before the straight, so you really have to focus on your exit to get a good overtake. But no, there's going to be a lot of overtakes for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll wait and see as the race unfolds whether that is the case. Mark is going to be the first one on a lap, so we'll ride on board with him through turn 1. Slightly touching the side curb. You can take more curb than that. He was a little bit cautious, but out of turn 1, nice and cleanly, hasn't invalidated his lap. So he's coming up to the end of the first sector through turn 2. Not really a corner. Coming up to turn 3, so 15.7 at the end of the first sector. Bit wide of the apex there at turn 3, just a little bit too late on the brakes. Gets the car stopped nicely though and misses the outside curb, so it doesn't really affect his run out of the corner too much. Coming down towards turn 4, down the third of the 3 DRS straights into turn 4. Downhill braking zone, very easy to lock up, but he looks as though he has got that one sorted nice and easily. Now towards turn 5 and 6, very easy to understeer wide and invalidate a lap here, and he just about gets away with it. A lot of exit curb. Coming into the next corner then, start the third sector, it's a 44.1 at the end of the second sector. Now coming over the crest of the hill, he's going to be heading towards the final 2 corners of the lap. Very, very fast right-handers. Down into 7th gear, a little bit of understeer mid-corner. Looks like he's running maybe a straight line speed setup because he hasn't quite got the car hooked up so far to a lot of the apexes. Across the line, it's still a 1 minute 3.2, which is a very, very fast lap considering. And we were expecting pole to be a low 1 minute 3, so to do a 1 minute 3.2 this early in the session is very, very strong.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I really think it's going to be. We talked about it before the race started. That we're going to be shocked if they're going to do a 1 minute 2. But I really think after seeing this lap and it being the first lap in the qualifying session, it's going to be a 1:28 or something.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it looks like it could be very, very possible. We've got one of the Alfa Romeos coming at time. That's Isotopic. He does a 3.6. He goes into P4 for the time being. His Alfa Romeo teammate Thor is going to be coming up to the 9 next, and he goes P4 instead now, so he does a 3.6. They're only separated by 15 thousandths of a second, and Thor is 3 thousandths off the back of Steve. As Mashiro in the second Red Bull, he goes on to provisional pole by less than a tenth of a second. Mashiro, we say it a number of times this season that he didn't have the best of starts, so we kept cursing him, and he would have good qualifying results and good race pace, but nothing would ever really come together for him. But Canada was an absolutely dominant performance in the end. Do you think he can carry that momentum forward? He actually gets massively in the way of F1 AMG there. F1 AMG was on a lap going into turn 3, and Mashiro was just kind of dawdling really on the racing line, and F1 AMG had to go off the road and avoid him at turn 3. That is a very, very, very clear block. F1 AMG is not going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be looked at by the stewards. But coming back to your first question, yeah, it's just Mashiro and T. Jonas are some kind of a yin-yang. Mashiro almost every time has a really good quality, but race goes bad except Canada, and T. Jonas is the other way around. His quality is bad, but his race is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope Canada was a kickstarter for Mashiro's his season, and he's gonna perform as well in the races as he does in his qualifying rounds.
Yeah, fingers crossed he can continue with that momentum. We'll ride on board with Caesar. As I say that, Caesar too early on the power coming out of turn 1, and he spun the car on the curb on the exit of the corner, so that's not going to be obviously a completed lap for him. Birch has just crossed the line in 7th. Thor went across the line on his second lap on the same set of soft tyres and improved by 0.2 of a second. So he's now up to 4th place on a 103.4, only just behind Tijonis. Further back as well, Lighty up into the top 10 in 8th place on a 3.8. That's much more like it from Lighty in qualifying. We saw his qualifying last time out was pretty decent, but obviously the race didn't quite go his way in the end. But we've seen quite a bit of an improvement recently in Lighty's speed. Do you think that he can finally get that first points finish of the season?
Yeah, I really hope he does. I mean, he's been really unlucky. Every race he drove in so far this season, it ended in manure. So, yeah, I really hope he can get a good result and get his first points on the board. And I just checked in the steward's office. I can confirm Jan has a qualifying ban for this race.
Absolutely, yeah, so that is why he's going to be starting 16th on the grid in the Mercedes. Not best for him. He had a great showing in Monaco, but since then it's just not gone well for him. He didn't have the best of races last time out, and he has obviously not going to be qualifying today because of an incident in the previous round. So he's down in 16th on the grid, but the only way is up around Austria, and it is not really difficult to overtake on, like we said already. We'll ride with Damon. We haven't obviously seen a lap from him so far. This is going to be his first lap in the session. We haven't seen what he's able to do. He's replacing Simply Superman today. Simply Superman, another man that's been having a good season so far. He is missing this round, but his momentum has been very, very good recently. Jono's gone 5th in the McLaren on his 3rd lap on those set of soft tyres, so he jumps up to 5th place now. That's bizarre that he stayed up that long on a set of softs as Damon goes into turn 1, coming out of turn 1 nicely, a little bit on the outside sausage curb, but just about gets away with it. Now coming up towards turn 2 and 3, let's see what his first sector time is like compared to what Mark's was earlier on. It's a little bit down, it's about half a tenth down, so it's not too bad of a first sector. Nicer, closer to the apex than Mark was, but a little bit slow coming out of the corner, didn't get the best traction coming out of turn 3, now down towards turn 4, down the DRS straight, keeps it right to the left hand side, slightly touches the grass, actually he was trying to keep it so close to the left hand side of the road. Now through turn 4, coming on the exit of the corner, nice on the traction, not too much, he's not using a lot of curb at the moment, he's not really pushing the boundaries, it's just nice and neat. Through turn 5, misses the apex slightly, he's going to understeer wide, but just about gets away. Now coming down the corner, downhill once again, into the final sector, but one of the McLarens in front, they're just moving out of the way. That is Jono moving into the pit lane, coming into the final corner, got one of the Red Bulls in front that might affect him slightly in the final corner, but not much. That's Steve starting his run, is a bit too much curve. Gets away with it though, doesn't get invalidated, he was a bit slow coming out the corner, and it's a 1 minute 3.7 from Damon, so there's still a lot of lap time in there, but a good first lap for his first qualifying session in TTML so far.
Yeah, at least he's got a time down. Every time I try to qualify around this track, I invalidate in turn 1. So great job on that for Damon. But yeah, it's just a decent lap, and what you said, he isn't using the curbs too much, and so he can definitely improve on this lap.
Definitely, yeah. Langfell's gone up to 5th place in the Williams car. Sean's gone up to 12th on his first lap on the soft tyres, a 1 minute 3.9 from him. All to Jonas, Mark and Mashiro all went for a second run, but they all invalidated their runs. So Mashiro's going for another run on the same set of tyres. Let's see if he can improve his time. We'll ride a ball with him through the second sector. He's got one of the... It's Damon in front of him in the racing point. See if Damon moves out the way. Damon's going to wait maybe until he comes down to the pit straight. It's his 7th, that hundredths of a second up as Mashiro on his personal best. So this is going to be a slight improvement, but does he dive into the pits? Does he want to set this time on an older set of soft tyres? Here he comes round the penultimate corner, and too much curb on the inside there. Oh, and he dives right across into the pit lane. That might be a little bit under question from the stewards, because obviously not meant to do that. He's darted right into the pit lane at the last moment, but he invalidated on the inside of turn 9. There's still a lot of pace in there, but that might be another thing that's investigated by the stewards.
Yeah, I believe so. I saw the results, yes, of League 1. And they were really strict. They put a video out as well to take the pit entry like you should in real Formula 1. So yeah, it's going to be looked at for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So something maybe hanging over Mishiro's head at the moment, something that isn't hanging over his head at the moment, is F1 AMG. After having to avoid Mishiro in that first kind of round of runs, he's not set a lap since. So F1 AMG is still stuck at the back of the field with his teammate. He's just left the pit box for an outlap. Valoris is coming into the pit lane. Lighty was on another run but has invalidated. Let's see whether he does improve his time, whether he's going to continue with the time. He does, and he only slightly improves on his time by about 0.03 of a second. So it would have gained him a place on Bircher and put him back in the top 10. But I imagine that he'll go out on another set of soft tyres and try and improve on 11th place at the moment. Who else is on a lap in front? Isotopic has just invalidated a run, and I think Thor may have done the same. Thor was on his second lap and he's invalidated that run as well, so he's completely backed off. So now wait and see who's going to be coming around to start a lap. It's going to be Jono, I believe, who's going to be the next one to start a lap. Still says he's on 3-lap old soft tyres for me. I don't know if he's still on those tyres or whether he's moved on to a different set. And he's a little bit wide at turn 1, but just gets away with it. Just about gets away with not invalidating on the exit of the corner. Coming up towards the end of the first sector, is he improving on his personal best? He is. He's actually nearly 0.08 of a second up by the end of the first sector. So despite that little mistake, and again, just too high a gear coming under turn 3, and it kind of loosens the rear of the car up. Doesn't get the best exit onto the straight. See what he can do now through the middle sector. Coming down towards turn 4. Does he lock up his front right tyre? He does not know. So he's coming down. He's short shift down into second there to get the car rotated. But doesn't really gain him a lot of speed on the exit of the corner. Lighty, meanwhile, has jumped up into 6th, so a great improvement on his next lap on those soft tyres. He's up into 6th place in the Ferrari. Good qualifying for him so far. Imagine he'll want to go out on a fresher set of tyres, though, and try and improve that time at the end of the session. Here comes Jono then towards the end of the lap. Is he going to improve on 7th place? Can he get back into the top 5? Let's see what he can do. Coming around the final corner, nice and committed. Slightly hits that sausage curb, but gets away with it coming up to the line, and Jono does a 3.4, goes back up into 4th place. Good lap from him, but again, a lot of people making small errors, so the actual, I'd say the optimum time here still really hasn't been met yet. It was F1 AMG. Yeah, F1 AMG goes second. Wow,
Yeah,
F1 there goes second. As Tejonis, meanwhile, goes on to pole position, provisional pole position. This is more like it for Tejonis. He's really struggled for qualifying apart from Australia, and now he's at the front of the field fighting for pole position. This is more like it from him. And with F1 AMG
yeah,
only third, this could be really, really good for him.
yeah. This really is what we wanted to see from him. Just have a good quality and see if he can make the lives of F1 AMG and Mashiro really hard during the race, because he doesn't have to overtake so many people to get into the top five. So great job from him, and F1 AMG. I was on board with his lap. He was taking it really careful. So I think he will improve on his final lap.
Absolutely, yeah. As Mark's gone straight on at turn 3, it looks like he was giving a slipstream to Caesar coming up towards turn 3. So the Renault trying the slipstream tactics here. It is definitely a tactic that can work at other circuits. The problem with Australia is that while it is a relatively low downforce circuit, the straights here aren't actually that long. There are a lot of them, but the straights aren't actually that long themselves. So I have to wait and see whether this does pay off for Caesar, who's currently 15th. For qualifying for Caesar, it's either he's right at the front of the field or he's right at the back, but he's a second up on his personal best already. But this, at the moment, will only put him just in the bottom end of the top 10, so he's going to be wanting to have a very, very strong final sector. Here he comes then, through the final 2 corners, nice and committed, doesn't use all of the apex curve, doesn't use a lot of the inside curve either at the final corner, comes up to the line. Where does Caesar go? Does he go around his teammate? He actually takes provisional. Oh, what a final sector from Caesar. That was an amazing final sector in the end, and he steals pole position by less than 0.03 of a second. Look at the gap between the top 5 at the moment. Exactly a tenth of a second separates the 2 Renaults in 1st and 5th.
Yeah, incredible. It's just great to watch, and we haven't even started racing. This is just qualifying. So, wow, what a lap of Caesar.
That was really, really strong. And it looks like then that the slipstream did work in the end. Mark's on a lap now, but he's nearly a tenth down in the first sector on his personal best. More committed though to the inside of turn 3, but a little bit slow on the power coming out of the corner, so doesn't get the best run. See who else is on a lap in front of him. I think it's one of the Williams cars that's coming round. That'll be Langfeld to finish a lap. Currently 9th, but he's dived into the pit lane, so he's not going to be improving on his time. One of the Alpha Tauris is on a lap. I believe that will be Sean. Sean is slightly up. Yeah, he's slightly up in the middle sector. So this could put him close to the top 10 if he can improve in the final, but he's committed to the pit lane already, so he's not going to continue with that lap either. He's going to want to come in and put another set of soft tyres on. Birch is starting a lap meanwhile in the Haas, currently 13th. Third in the championship. He's never really been strong in qualifying, but his race pace is where he gains time. Here comes Mark to the end of his lap. Mark actually dives into the pit, so Mark's not improving on 5th. So we'll ride on board with Bircher on his lap, see if he can improve on 13th. Like I said, qualifying's not really been his strong suit this season, but every single race it almost feels like he's cursed to 4th. He's every time we catch him, we always catch him in the final 5 laps of the race, and he's always in 4th place.
Yeah, he's really the first 3/4 of the race. He's like a ghost. We don't notice him. He's doing his own thing, overtaking people, and in the end of the race, we're always surprised. Hey, Burgess ended in P4 again.
Yeah.
So yeah, his race pace is really good, but it's the same as with Jonas. He really needs a good qualifying for a race, I think, to finish up on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be upset that while he's had a lot of 4th places and he's 3rd in the championship, just a podium has really eluded him at the moment. It's not quite come together for him. Here he comes through the final corner, takes too much apex on the inside of the final corner, so he's invalidated that run. I see what the run would have been. It would have only been a 3.9. I think with that mistake, he just backed off immediately coming up the final corner anyway, so he wasn't going to improve on that time. So let's see if he can get back to the pits in time to set another lap time. Otherwise, he may be stuck in 13th. Here comes Thal round the final corner. He's a 10th up on his personal best, but he invalidates on the exit of the final corner. It would have been a 3.3, so it wouldn't have gained him any places actually. It would have kept him in 6th place, but it would have put him closer to that top 5 battle. But again, another person invalidating at the final corner. And that's one thing we've got to look out for in the race as well, is that in picking up penalties here is very, very easy.
Yeah, it is. If you the really fast right-hander and the last corner is really easy to pick up a penalty, and turn 1 as well. So just like in Canada with the final chicane, you really have to be careful to not get too many penalties, and you can finish up high. But if you get 12 or 15 seconds worth of penalties, it's going to ruin your race.
Absolutely, especially if there was a late safety car, it could really ruin your race. Here comes Lighty then, he's starting another lap on this same set of soft tyres. He invalidated his first run. Let's see what his first sector time is like as he crosses through. He's nearly a 10th down on his personal best first sector, so not the best start to the lap for the Ferrari man. Oh, and has a massive snap of oversteer coming out of turn 3. So that's this lap already ruined. Let's see if he slows down and goes for another run. Damon behind him in 12th at the moment. He's going for another run as well. Let's see if he can improve on 12th place. He's half a tenth up in the first sector. 15.8 first sector is very, very strong, but he's very deep on the brakes into turn 3. Far too late on the brakes there, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of time coming out the corner as well. So I imagine this won't really be an improvement for him unless he backs off and goes for another run. See who else is on a lap. Jono behind him is on a lap. There's a lot of traffic, though, in the middle part of the lap that he's going to have to deal with. He's just behind one of the Renault cars, I believe. That'll be Mark that he's coming up behind. He's 7,000ths of a second up in the first sector, so let's see whether he can improve on his time and challenge that top 5 battle. Here he comes through the middle part of the lap, nice and neat, very, very right tucked to the apex of the corner, but he's only 27,000ths up on his personal best, so it looks like Jono might have reached his potential so far. Let's see what his final sector's like, see whether he can match a kind of final sector that Caesar did. He's using all of the entry curve there on the left hand side, comes through the final corner. Jono coming up to the line, might get a slight slipstream off Caesar, comes up to the line. It's a good final sector, gets ahead of Thor, goes into 6th place, but still over a 10th off that battle for the pole position at the moment. It seems like the pack has kind of separated into 2 here.
Yeah, it is, and all the other guys, and he's a little bit off in this. All the other guys are starting their laps now, so we could see, especially in the top 5, I think we can see some changes in starting positions.
And Caesar has invalidated his final run in qualifying, so he's not going to be improving on where he is. Let's see who else is on a lap. It will be, I believe, it's going to be, well, we've got the Alpha Tauris coming up to the line. Valores is going to leave it right to the last second to actually get to the line in time. I think he just got there in time. Sean crosses the line. He stays in 14th. He's not going to be improving unless he is starting another lap. I'm not sure if he is, though, or not. Wait and see who's coming up to the line. That's Mark coming up to the line. He goes into 3rd in the second Renault, so he jumps ahead of Mashiro and F1 AMG, who are both on laps at the moment. Mashiro is slightly down in the first sector. F1 AMG is slightly down on his personal best in the middle, so no one's really improving at the moment. Here comes Sejonis to the line. Sejonis has invalidated his final run, so he's not going to be improving on 2nd place on the grid. Let's see whether Mashiro and F1 AMG can do anything about it. Here comes F1 AMG to the final corner. Isotopic goes 6th. And F1 AMG goes onto the front row by 2,000ths of a second. He beats Sejonis and goes on to 2nd place on the grid. Where does Mashiro factor into all this? Can he set a good final sector and jump up to the front of the field? It looks nice and neat through the final 2 corners. Where does the Red Bull man go? He goes pole! Whoa. Great final sector from Mashiro. A 10.5 up on his personal best, and he steals pole right at the dying moments of the session. A 1:03 flat, nearly a 10th clear of Caesar at the front. Caesar's going to be ruining that mistake of invalidating his run invalidating his final run. Mashiro 2 weeks in a row, 2 pole positions.
Yeah, so it really kickstarted this season last race out. So, yeah, great lap from him, great improvement. In the end, you were right. Really low 1.103s.
Yeah.
So good job on predicting that. But yeah, it's so incredibly close from P1 to what is it, P9 even. I mean, it's 4/10 of a second. It's incredible.
It is really, really incredible. It's actually covering the top 11. It's nearly exactly 0.5 of a second. That's really, really close. Obviously, it is a shorter track, but still, to get that close in the top 10 is crazy stuff. Mashiro takes pole by nearly 1/10 of a second, and then behind Caesar, F1 AMG, Tejonis, and Mark separated by just under 0.03 of a second, separating 4 cars. Even a slight mistake, like even just a hair's width too cautious on the throttle, could have cost you being on the front row and being 5th.
Yeah, great job from them. Yeah, it's so incredibly close. What you said, just going wide once or hesitate on throttle, and it costs you places.
Yeah, and even below that, the gaps below that as well. Isotopic, Jono, Thor, and Steve all separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. Langfell nearly within that 10th gap as well. And then further back down the field as well, Damon, Bircher, and Sean all separated by nearly a 1/10 of a second as well. So really, really tightly knit field here. We'll see whether we're just waiting for someone to retire from the session. I believe that is Bircher we're just waiting for. So that's when qualifying will end. We'll run you through that as well. We'll run you through the full order when qualifying does end. But another one as well that's done pretty well in this session is Isotopic, back up at the front again. A little bit off the guys at the front, but if his race pace is strong, he can maybe latch on and maybe spring a surprise in the race.
Yeah, he can. And he doesn't make that many mistakes in the race as well. I mean, it's not one of the fastest guys, but he's really consistent and doesn't make many mistakes. So yeah, I won't be surprised if he can end up 1 or 2 spots above his starting position.
Absolutely, and so it is Mashiro on pole ahead of Caesar on the front row for the second time this season is Caesar. F1 AMG third ahead as John is fourth, Mark fifth. Isotopic, Jono, Thull, Steve and Langfell round off the top 10. Outside the top 10 it's Lighty in 11th, good qualifying for him ahead of Damon on debut. Bertie 13th ahead of Sean, Vlores and Jan, who obviously did not set a time in qualifying after that qualifying ban. But just looking at the front of the field, it is so close, and it's great to see that, I think for the first time this season really, that F1 AMG might not have the outright pace to be the fastest here.
Yeah, maybe this is not one of his favorite tracks. I mean, besides that, and it's
Ooh, it's a
really,
bit.
really cloudy.
Ooh,
Is it
yeah.
raining?
I don't think it's quite raining. It is definitely overcast. Whether it does rain in this session or whether it's gonna clear up and get sunnier as the race goes on, I don't know. But it'll be interesting if there's rain in this race because we've obviously had one wet race already this season. That was Vietnam of all places to have a wet race. It was at Vietnam, and when it was obviously wet, the Renaults absolutely dominated that race in the end, and they're right at the front of the field once again here. So if it does rain, then the Renaults could be in the pound seat to win this one.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't rain, I mean, there's so many strategies possible here. If you can save up your tires, you can go soft mediums, you can go soft hards to play it safe. And yeah, now the thing is, that if it is gonna rain and you're outside of the top 10, on which tire are you gonna start?
Yeah,
Which
it's
gamble are you gonna take? So yeah, incredible, incredible.
yeah,
Really, really, I'm loving it already.
the rest hasn't even started and we're already loving it. Looking outside the top 10, everyone apart from Sean is on the soft tyres. Everyone else, Sean is on the hards. So that suggests to me that it's going to rain pretty early in this race because I am very, very shocked to see that literally every single person outside the top 10 apart from Sean has gone for the softs. Why? I don't know. If it is going to rain very early, then I'm amazed that Sean has gone for the hards because obviously they're not going to be anywhere near as grippy as the softs. He's going to lose a lot of time and then it will rain early, so he'll have to pit early for them. But if it doesn't rain, I'm very, very shocked that everyone has gone for the softs.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm as well. Uh, so I'm guessing now, but it's really really guessing that Sean made a mistake on his tires and wanted to start on the softs. But like you said, if it takes longer before the rain starts, then Sean is in a great position. Everybody does have to pit, and he can just go and do a really late pit stop when it's starting to rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And casting mind back really to Canada last week, it actually rained for the final 2 laps of the Canadian race
Yeah.
last week, and obviously the rain didn't have any effect at all really on people's grip. So it could be one of those sessions where it rains, but it doesn't really have that much effect on the grip that's on the track. So you never know what's going to happen. But before the race starts, I'm going to push you for a podium. Who do you think's going to finish on the podium today?
Well, I was really hoping you would forget to ask me because this really is a difficult one. This is so tight. You know what? I'm gonna go for Tijonas one, Caesar second, and yeah, Betcher's too far off. Isotopic third.
Ooh, okay. I'd probably agree with you on Sejonis winning this one. I'd probably say F1 AMG second, and I would go for Isotopic third as well. I think he's had a consistent season so far, so we'll have to wait and see whether he can get on the podium. But here we go then. Everyone is lined up on the grid. Let's wait and see as the lights come on ahead of drivers. Here we go then. Who's going to get the best start of the Austrian Grand Prix? Long hole, but the lights are out and away they go. It looks a fairly even start, but it looks like Caesar's got the better jump on the second phase of the start. Caesar's up the inside. Can he get fully alongside Michelle into turn one? He can. He's late on the brakes. There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. More
Oh
contact. Caesar
no.
loses the car on the exit of the corner and hits the wall. Big time on the inside of turn one. Is retired from the session. What a shame from Caesar from the front row. He's out of the race already, and we already have a full safety car as Mark's come into contact with someone. I think he might have spun off the front of Isotopic's car, and Damon's got caught up in it, I believe, in the Racing Point. So a number of big people there dropping out. Both Renaults having a terrible start. Just as we were saying, they could be in the pound seat to win this one. Caesar's out coming out of turn one, and Mark has lost his front wing.
Yeah, devastating for the Renault guys. They had a decent quali. Finally had a decent quali, both of them, and then this happened. But yeah, the first corner on the start, it's so hard to go side by side there because if you're, especially yeah, if you touch there and you push in your throttle, you just lose your backhand. What happened to Caesar, and it's race over. So yeah, really sad to see.
It is such a shame for Caesar from the front row, not even able to make it through the first lap. He's out of the race already. And just looking at that turn one incident, not really much that either of them could really do in that situation. Mishiro was all the way to the left-hand side of the road. It's just they made wheel-to-wheel contact and Caesar lost the car because of it. So I wouldn't say anything would come of that in terms of steward reports. And I think Mishiro's had enough of maybe possible steward reports in this race already. He has 2 maybe hanging over his head from qualifying. So let's wait and see as we continue to go on for this race. Caesar has left the session, unfortunately, after retiring. We've got a few people in the pits. So obviously, Mark is in the pits to replace his front wing. Lighty and Jan are in the pits as well. They put a set of the medium tyres on. I thought Damon was involved in that first lap incident. He was, but amazingly, he didn't pick up any damage. I don't know how. It looked like he whacked the wall on the inside of turn 2 from my side of things, but apparently not, and he's still going. So he must have just been caught up in the aftermath of Mark going off the road. But Lighty and Jan picking up some damage. They've gone for the medium tyres. Mark has come into the pit lane and he's put a set of the hard tyres on. He's coming out in the back of the field. He's coming out in 14th place. He will be just ahead of Jan, who was in 15th. But at the front of the field, Mishiro holds the lead. But to Jonas, parting of the Red Sea, he's up into second.
Yes, great start. And yeah, just not doing anything special. Really great from him. Ice Topic already up to 4th. And Mark going into the hard tires suggests to me that if it's gonna be raining this race, it's gonna be really late in the race. So probably just a really great strategic chosen from Sean.
Absolutely, yeah. Sean could have played a masterstroke here, and this could be a silver lining for Mark in that if the rain doesn't come as early as maybe some people are expecting, then they could be on a great strategy, and the guys that are on the softs will have to pit again before the rain actually arrives. So they could be in a good position, as could Lighty and Jan on the medium. So obviously they're going to be able to go longer than the soft tyres. We're starting lap 3 of this race. Looking through the rest of the field then, F1 AMG is in 3rd, just behind his joint championship leader and rival Jonas, ahead of Isotopic in 4th. Good start from him, like you say. Jono up into 5th in the McLaren. Good start from him as well, ahead of Steve in 6th in the Red Bull, and a Thorl in 7th. Langfell on debut in 8th, ahead of Birchett up to 9th. Birchett's up to 9th and 13th on the grid. He's had a great start once again. I mean, this time around at least we were able to see it. Someone's picked up damage in the background. Is that Damon? I think Damon's running to the back of Sean behind the safety car. I don't know if Sean was braking too heavily or Damon was just not paying attention, but he's run into the back of the AlphaTauri man and picked up a load of front wing damage, and it looks like the safety car might be coming in this lap, so that's awful for Damon that he's going to have to pit and change his front wing just as everyone's going to be back up to racing speed.
Yeah, it's going to cost him loads of time, the little mistake of going into the back of Sean, and yeah, I really hope Sean is going to come in this lap. Yeah, I really hope Sean doesn't get a 5-second penalty because of the glitch that is in the game. That when you get punted from behind under the safety car, you get a 5-second penalty as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Damon picked up a 5-second penalty himself. I didn't see if Sean picked one up, so fingers crossed he hasn't got one. Looking down the further field behind Birchett, Flores is up to 10th, so both AlphaTauris have had good starts, up to 10th and 11th, but we're rideable with Mashiro as he's going to lead the field back to safety car, back to green. After the safety car restart, the safety car has just entered the pit lane. When does Mashiro go? He's going to go now, midway through the penultimate corner. He goes then for the safety car restart. As Sejohn is caught napping a little bit, didn't have the best of restart, so Mashiro has got a bit of a gap coming up to turn 1. Now coming up to turn 1, FIMG looking to the inside to Sejohn, maybe trying to force a mistake from his championship rival, but he's not close enough to make anything happen as they come out of turn 1. Mashiro holds a half a second lead ahead of Sejohn, F1AMG 3rd, Isotopic holding on in 4th ahead of Jono in 5th. Steve in 6th, Thorl 7th, Langfell 8th, Birch in 9th, and Flores rounds off the top 10. Sean looking at the back of his teammate coming up to the top of the hill, but not quite close enough. Can't pass his teammate for 10th place. He stays in 11th for the time being. Damon has dived into the pit lane. He's put a set of the hard tyres on. Thorl under pressure a little bit from Langfell. Langfell at the moment in the Williams. He looks to the inside of turn 4, but not quite close enough. Thorl holds on to 7th place for the time being, but at the front of the field, perfect restart from Mashiro. He's given himself a little bit of a buffer, and now we can try and break the behind.
Yeah, he does, and well, it's pretty close now. A little bit of a gap starting to form behind F1 AMG. Isotopic can't really keep up with the front 4 guys, but yeah, great restart. But they're still close, and anything can happen when the DRS is re-enabled again.
Yeah, DRS will be re-enabled in, well, the next lap. It'll be at the start of the next lap. The DRS will be re-enabled. Mashiro hasn't really dropped him yet, so John's doing a good job of holding on as this F1 AMG. Like I say, Isotopic a little bit further back. Jono's looking fast in the McLaren. He's stuck right on the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo. Let's see if he can make a look up the inside of turn 3. He's not quite close enough, so he's going to stay in behind in 5th place for the time being. Looking further down the field, Sean and Lighty are side by side. Lighty down the inside of the AlphaTauri man. Looked like a little bit of contact on the exit of the corner, but Lighty just about holds the car after a slight wiggle. But Lighty's already out of ERS, so I wonder whether Lighty may have some sort of overtake button glitch here, because he's completely out of ERS already. I wonder if it's stuck on for him. He turns it off, so it briefly turned off there on the exit of the corner. So Lighty has somehow managed to use up all of his ERS in this start. Sean drops down to 12th, Lighty up into 11th though on those medium tyres. Let's see if he can work his way forward still, because if it doesn't rain, Lighty at the moment is in the best place on an alternate strategy.
Yeah, he is. Lighty and Jan both on the medium tires, and they're quite a bit faster than the hard tires. And yeah, because it's a really short track, the soft tires don't go up that fast, but the difference isn't that big after 9 or 10 laps. So yeah, really great.
Yeah, Steve picks up his first time penalty of the race on the exit of turn 1. Thor under pressure from Langfeld. Thor had a massive slide coming out the final corner. He's lost DRS to Steve. Thor's going to go all the way around the outside of turn 3. Brilliant move from him. He goes clean around the outside. He takes 7th place. He's on the move. Thor struggling a little bit for pace on those soft tyres. He's dropped back now, and Birch is the next man to have a go at Thor. Steve was looking at the back of Jono, but wasn't quite close enough. F1 AMG looking at the back of his championship rival for 3rd, but again not close enough himself either. Everyone's in a DRS train at the moment, and Langfeld has managed to work back into DRS behind Steve. So Thor at the moment is the cork in the bottle, and he's kind of holding the people up behind at the moment. Langfeld through and immediately back into DRS range of Steve.
Yeah, so that shows Langfeld really... Langfeld, I don't know how you pronounce it, but no, it shows he really has pace. So great job, and yeah, he's starting to get full a little bit.
Yeah, fastest lap from Langfeld as well in 7th place. Yeah. Great lap from him. He's caught right on to Steve's. Isotopic struggling for pace now. He's dropped out of DRS range of the top 3, so Jono may be looking to have a move up into turn 3. He's not quite close enough as there's a move for a lead. Tejonis down the inside of Mashiro. Mashiro leaves him a lost space there and gets a brilliant run out of turn 3. Tejonis does not. He's really corner, but just about gets away with it. F1 AMG wasn't close enough to capitalise, so Jonas stays in 2nd for the time being, but Mashiro under pressure here. He's not quite as fast as the 2 guys behind. He's holding them up slightly. Same for Jono with Isotopic as well. Jono being a little bit held up by the Alfa Romeo man, and it looks like that Jonas and F1 AMG are the faster of the top 3.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that, and yeah, Mashiro, let's hope he doesn't crack under pressure here, and he can, as told, that's a 3-second time penalty as well. Doesn't crack under pressure of T. Jonas and F1 AMG, and yeah, if he has to, just let them go and drive along in their DRS train.
Yeah, the top 9 are all in the train at the moment as Sean picks up a time penalty. It's the top 9 in the train. Flores is the first person outside of DRS at the moment. He's dropped a little bit back in 10th place. Here goes to Jonas once again, though. He's very strong through turn 1, and he gets the move done on Mashiro well before turn 3. He's up the inside. He's going to take a bit of a shallow line, though. Through turn 3, can Mashiro get a good enough exit to challenge back down into turn 4? He's on the overtake. Is he going to be close enough coming down into the corner? He's on the overtake, so Jonas, though, in defence. So Jonas takes the lead of the race then. He moves ahead of Mashiro. Mashiro very late on the brakes into turn 4, but not close enough to make a move stick. Mashiro loses out to the Williams man. Now can Jonas maybe get the guys behind and pull out of DRS as Lighty in the Ferrari, meanwhile, down. He's past another AlphaTauri. He's past Flores. Can he catch this queue of cars in front then that are all in the DRS train, and can he make those medium tyres work and work his way forwards?
Yeah, it looks like he can. I mean, recording is winning a 10th on Batcher, and T. Jonas, Mashiro and F1 AMG. Just, yeah, great driving from these guys. Really clean overtaking, and they're just trying to get themselves out of DRS race, but they're just dead of Isotopic. And if they work together, they can really gap these guys and just battle it out in the second half of the race. But be safe from not being overtaken from the back from Isotopic or Jono or Steve.
Definitely.
So great job from them.
And looking at ERS management as well, F1 AMG is nearly on 100%, so you can tell that he's not at his best at the moment. He's not pushing. I say that, he's right on the back of Mashiro, who seems to be struggling now on those soft tyres. He's down to about 50% ERS. Our race leader has absolutely none at all. F1 AMG has so much more ERS in comparison to the two guys in front of him. So when he wants to make his move, it looks like it's going to be a done deal because he can just breeze past these guys in a straight line. Isotopic holding on to fourth for the time being, but he's low on ERS himself as well, and he's struggling to keep up with the guys in front. Jono is swarming all over the back of him, as is Steve, as is Langfell, as is Thal, who's still in this queue, as is Birch as well. Lighty is actually losing time to the guys in front, so we can't quite catch the guys up and get in the DRS range. But if a mistake comes from any of those guys, he will be the first one to capitalise on it. Flores losing time now, and he'd probably be best suited to maybe let his teammate go, because it looks like that Flores' soft tyres have already reached the end of their tyre life.
Yeah, they have, and Jono really putting the pressure on Isotopic now. Looking on the left, looking on the right, and I think he's going to make a move now.
Yeah, here he goes then
No,
up to turn
he's just
3.
staying behind.
Yeah, he's going to stay behind. Maybe he'll go for a move down into turn 4. We have got another DRS straight. Maybe he doesn't want to put himself under pressure down into turn 4. Let's see what he does. Gets a really poor run though out of the corner. So that's the one problem with Austria, is that a lot of people leave it until this straight to try and get the move done. But if you make a mistake, then you're not going to be able to get the move done, which is exactly what's happened there with Jono. I think Jono waited for that straight to try and get the move done, but got a poor exit out of the corner, so that's another lap he's going to have to stay behind Isotopic. And that is a problem with this track, is that leaving it late means that the opportunity can really easily disappear.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a really tough exit out of the corner. If you put in the throttle too hard, you will lose and spin to the right, lose your front wing, or just get really traction, and you will lose a couple of tenths on the guy in front. So yeah, you really have to be careful, and yeah, if it doesn't work there, then just try it on a straight before that, out of turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to try it somewhere else then. And here goes Jono then. He's on the overtake this time round, coming up towards turn 3. Is he going to move to the inside? He is. He's thought about it this time round. He's going to get the move done earlier in the lap. He's down the inside of turn 3. Looks like a clean move. Isotopic has got a good exit though from the corner. Is he going to try and get back past? He's not using his overtake, so I think he knows that Jono's the faster off the drivers. Steve trying to have a look in the Red Bull, but Steve's completely out of ERS, so he hasn't got anything to attack with. Isotopic just about holds on to 5th ahead of Steve in 6th, but Jono up into 4th. Let's see whether Jono has the pace to catch the guys in front, who are still all within a second of each other.
Yeah, great, but they already get Jono with 3 seconds.
Steve's down the inside of Isotopic, meanwhile in the middle sector. He's really trying to get the move done. Isotopic losing pace quickly. Here comes Langfell in the Williams as well. Isotopic just holds on to 5th, but Steve tried to dive. Isotopic picks up a time penalty in the inside of the penultimate corner, but Steve really tried to dive there, coming down into turn 7. It didn't quite work, and it's cost him quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's not really what we're used to see of Steve. Normally he's playing the patient game and waits for a real opportunity instead of trying to dive in small gaps. And he's really under pressure from Langfeld now.
Here comes Langfeld down the outside. Has he got the move? He's not late enough on the brakes, but he does the switch back on the exit of the corner. Let's see if he can get a good enough run coming down towards turn 4. They both have basically no ERS at all as they come down. It's really a drag race. Who has the better straight line speeds out of it? Looks like Langfeld does. Steve very late on the brakes, but Langfeld reacts, gets the move done. Great move from Langfeld. That is a textbook overtake, doing the switchback coming out of turn 3, and he's up into 6th place. He's doing a good job so far.
Yeah, he is. Being out there for the first time, he's doing a really great job. It costed him all of his ERS. He had left, but this proves with Steve, if you're trying to overtake, Mashiro.
Oh, Sejonis is in the pit lane, I believe, and Mashiro's gone past him now. So yeah. Sejonis is the first person into the pit lane from those soft tyres. It doesn't look like that rain is coming then. So I'm still very shocked to see that so many people started on the softs if the rain isn't coming. And it doesn't look like that is the case. And Sejonis is going for the medium tyres. Wow, so he thinks he can take those to the end of the race maybe. But that is a long way to go. He's got to do 24 laps on those medium tyres. That is a big ask.
It is. I expected the guys who wanted to go on the mediums for the second stint to go until lap 15 or something on the soft tires.
Sorry to jump in there. F1 AMG uses the opportunity. Mashiro with no DRS to defend. F1 AMG breezes past into turn 4, takes the lead of the race ahead of Mashiro. He used the extra DRS he had to get past. Mashiro actually saved up quite a bit, But F1 Energy breezes now into the race lead. Let's see if either of these guys react to Jonas' pit stop or whether they stay out. Let's see if any of them come in. Mashiro's going to dive into the pit lane by the looks of things. Or does he? No, he stays out. He looked to have come in and then decided against it. I think he saw that F1 AMG was staying out and decided to not go in. So maybe Jonas has pitted too early here.
Yeah, or he's just doing a really, really good undercut on the other guys. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. But F1 AMG really has the pace now. He's crawling away from Mishiro, who indeed saved up a lot of ERS. So good job on him.
Yeah, good job from him. Looking now, everyone else coming into the pit lane. Langfell, Steve, Birch, and Isotopic all into the pit lane. Split strategies here, though. Isotopic's gone for the mediums. Langfell and Steve have gone for the hards. And Bircher has gone for the mediums. So, real split strategies here. Some people think they can take the mediums to the end, and other people think that only the hards can get to the end. So, it's a real lottery here as to what strategy is going to be the right one.
Yeah, and it all depends. If there isn't another safety car or a virtual safety car, probably people are going to try it, and maybe if they're not taking care of the tires, you can get a puncture in the end, final few laps of the race.
Definitely. I think just there was a lot of social races around this track at the start of the season, and a lot of people tried the soft medium strategy. It would work if you were good on tyre management, but a lot of people really struggled, especially in the final 5 laps of the race. Your pace kind of really dies off on those medium tyres. Mashiro, Jono and Thorn have all come in, which means that the only guys that have stayed out on the soft tyres now are F1 AMG and Flores. They're the only ones that have stayed out on those soft tyres at the moment. F1 AMG does not think that the mediums can go to the end from a pit stop at the end of lap 12. He thinks that it's going to be later on in the race, so he's maybe giving himself an advantage here. If he's got the pace to pull out a gap, and he's used a lot of his ERS to do so, if he can pull out enough of a gap and still come out ahead of Mashiro after the pit stops, then he could be in a really, really good position here to get those mediums to the end and do a better job than the likes of Jonas can do.
Yeah, he can, and he used up so much ERS. I really think he's gonna pit this lap. But yeah, it's a gamble.
He's staying out. Actually, he's not coming into the pit lane. He's actually just got DRS off of Damon's AI car, so that's a little bit of a benefit for him that he's still got that. So he's still staying out on those soft tyres. I don't know if Mashiro's made a mistake somewhere, but Jonas is 6 seconds ahead of him now. I don't know whether that is just pure mistake for Mashiro or Jonas had an absolutely incredible outlap, but the gap between them now is 6 seconds. He's up and gone. He's completely disappeared from Mashiro now.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, he was behind 4 or 5 tenths or something like that. He had to be, or maybe he didn't see it. Maybe a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, or a 5-second penalty he had to serve.
Maybe
on his first pit stop.
Maybe, yeah. So Mashiro now running 6 seconds behind our net race leader Jonas. So looking further behind that, Isotopic came out still ahead of Langfell. Langfell on the hard tyres still has very, very good pace. And Langfell on the hard tyres has actually jumped Jono in the pit stops. So Jono's come out behind Isotopic and Langfell. So it does look like the undercut here is very, very strong for such a short lap. So Jono loses 2 places to Isotopic and Langfell by staying out a lap longer. And Langfell on the hard tyres can definitely get to the end of the race from here. F1 AMG is staying out for another lap. So we're on to lap 16 of this race. Lap 17 of this race, sorry. He's doing a very good job at keeping these soft tyres in good condition because he's not struggling by the looks of things for pace at the moment. But staying out this long on a set of soft tyres is very, very odd. I would have expected him to come in by now.
Yeah, maybe he knows he has the overspeed on the other guys, or he's really cautious on his tyres on the exits. But great job. It's really difficult going 16 laps on the soft tyres and not lose time. I mean, absolutely. They gotta be screaming for just a stop now.
Yeah, they must be screaming at him, like you say. Mark trying to get a move done on Sean. Since Mark's pit stop at the start of the race, he put the set of hard tyres on. He's not really made any ground at all. He's passed Jan actually was ahead of Jan before the safety car came in. So Mark hasn't actually made any moves yet. He's just kind of been stuck in this pack, really. He's stuck behind Sean and behind Lighty as well, who's a little bit in front of these guys. But he hasn't really worked his way forward, so I don't know whether the hard tyres just aren't a strong tyre here, or whether Mark's really struggling for race pace, but he's kind of stuck at the moment behind Sean and not making any ground.
Yeah, he is, but you mustn't forget, he was somewhere on the back of the DRS train, and it's really hard to overtake them. And
Yeah.
especially when guys in front of you are driving around on the mediums or the soft tires, and F1 AMG is pitting now, and I think he's gonna get on to the mediums. Yeah, he did.
He's onto the mediums. Where does he come out relative to Mashiro? He's only still just behind him, actually. So he passed him before the pit stops. He's back behind Mashiro again, but not too far back. He should be able to work his way back into DRS relatively quickly as Mark finally gets the move done on Sean a little bit late on the brakes into turn 3. And Sean's going to try and come back at him towards turn 4. Can he get the best one down into the corner? Sean's having a really, really good race today, but he's not quite got the straight line speed or the ERS to really attack Mark into the corner. He's looking down the inside. Look how late on the brakes Sean was. So late on the brakes. A little bit of contact with Mark. Mark gets the better run on the exit of turn 4 and is now ahead of the AlphaTauri man. So Mark finally works his way past him on lap 18 and is up into second place on the road. Sean loses out. But just looking back at the race leading battle, the race leading battle was massively gapped. Look how much Mashiro has caught Jonas in the last couple of laps. It's down to 3.6 seconds. Mashiro on these medium tyres is absolutely flying.
Yeah, he was two laps ago. He was 6 seconds behind, and it's only 3.5 now. But F1 AMG as well. When he came out, he lost 6 seconds on T. Jonas, just like Mashiro did. So yeah, I think T. Jonas was just really putting the pedal down in his monocoque and did a great job. But it seems he lost his pace, and he's just stuck behind Jan, and the difference in pace is big between them as he passes him now.
Yeah, he's down the inside of Jan. I wonder if Jan would defend that a bit more just to try and help his teammate. He's trying to get back at him down at turn 4. There's a little bit of wheel banging coming down the straight. Jan is battling this one with Jonas. See if he can get back round the outside of turn 4. He's not quite got the speed to do so, or the tyre grips, as Jonas is up into 4th place. But yeah, he might be stuck now behind Sean and Mark, who are going to be going a little bit longer on these hard tyres. And they're obviously still battling themselves, so Jonas could lose a lot of time here. So all that time he's gained in that undercut could be lost just being stuck behind these guys. And by the time that Mashiro and F1 AMG turn up, they could already be into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Jen is gonna be pitting up really long from now. Yeah, Sean and Mark, I don't know what they're going to do. Sean, Jen is in already. Oh no, it's Lighty, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lighty's into the pit lane from his medium. So what tyres is he going on? He's going on another set of mediums. So he obviously started this race on the softs and then pitted at the end of lap 1. So he's able to do that. So Lighty is okay to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Bertu and Steve are side by side. Steve's really struggling here as he's coming back past him on the exit of turn 1. Did the switch back on Bertu. It was a little bit deep on the brakes into the corner. But Steve's really struggling on these hard tyres. He's dropped right off the back of this Kubicars in front, which is being led by Isotopic at the moment. Langfeld just stuck behind, not really able to make the moves at the moment. So Jonas still hasn't passed Sean or Mark yet, so he's still stuck there. And Jan is nearly being caught by Mashiro here. So Jonas is going to lose a lot of time stuck behind these two guys in front. And the problem at the moment is looking like that the hard tyres just aren't a good tyre here.
No, they're definitely slower, and normally you see the tires are slower when you start on the hard tires, and every lap it's getting a little bit faster as the heat is coming in it, and the top layer is off, but the difference is so big, and especially with T. Jones now, because he's obviously on 7 lap old mediums, but yeah, hard tires are really looking slow. So.
Yeah, they don't look like they have a lot of pace, and Jonas still can't get past Sean, so he's not able to make the move stick on the AlphaTauri man. And the problem for Jonas here is that he used a lot of his ERS very early in the race, battling the likes of Mashiro and F1 AMG, and now he doesn't really have any to kind of pass these guys in front. I mean, Mark and Sean don't have a lot to defend either, but they're obviously still battling, and Sean's still in the DRS, so it's going to be very difficult for Jonas to pass here. Meanwhile, this is a spinner, I think, on turn 3. Yeah, Jono spun the car. I don't know if he spun it on his own. There's Mashiro. Is he going past Jan? Is he down the inside at turn 4? It looks like he's past the Mercedes man. So she's up into 4th. Jan's coming back down the inside, but it's not quite got the momentum to do that. And he stays in 5th, 4th. Goes up to 4th, and it's only 2 seconds off to Jonas now. So he's really closing in. But yet, Jono spun on the exit at turn 3 from what could have been maybe a top 5 in this race. Jono spun and has lost his front wing, so it's all fallen apart for the McLaren man, which is such a shame, as Sean is now going into the pit lane. So Jonas is now up into 2nd place as Sean dives in. But that puts Mashiro even closer to his main rival for this race. Mashiro only 1.6 seconds behind now.
Yeah, it's really catching fast, and F1 AMG, we got to Mashiro staying relatively the same since they both pitted. But yeah, I really think 20 laps on the hards. I really think Mark is isn't gonna be able to finish the race on his hard tires. Maybe he's gonna try it. I hope he's gonna try maybe something else after his really poor start. But
Yeah, it
yeah, let's see.
might be worth it just to try something, obviously, to get something out of
Yeah,
this race. And if he knows it's not going to work, then he can pit with 10 laps to go and put his other soft tyres on. One person to look out for in this race is Lighty. So a lot of people in front of him are on older medium tyres. So Jonathan's tyres are already 8 laps old compared to F1 AMG's, which are 3 laps old. So F1 AMG's has a real tyre advantage here. And so does Lighty. Lighty's only 2.8 seconds off this queue of cars behind Isotopic for 5th. And his tyres are at least 6 laps younger than a lot of the drivers in front of him. So Lighty at the moment is in a really, really good position in that Ferrari.
he is, and it's really important for him now to catch Steve relatively quickly as he's driving around on the hard tires. But the downside of it is we saw it in previous races as well. Steve is a pretty decent driver who doesn't make that many mistakes, so he really has to fight to overtake him and just see where it all ends up then.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking further down the field then. Thor's losing touch once again to Isotopic and Langfell in front, so it's both Alfa Romeos really got the cork in the boulders at the moment. Birch is looking fast in the Haas. He's trying to get past Thor and up into 7th place. Again, working his way forward. Slowly but methodically again is Birch up from 13th on the grid, now running 8th, doing a very, very good job. So Jonas is still behind Mark and Mashiro's closing in, as is F1 AMG in 3rd place with that tyre advantage. So it's all starting to close up once again at the front of the field. They are now 6 seconds clear of Isotopic, who's running in at P5 and net P4 as Mark Powell comes into the pit lane. So Mark's not going to continue with that strategy. He's going to come in and I imagine put a set of the soft tyres on. Let's see what he goes for in the Renault. That puts Isotopic now back up into 4th place. But it's fair to say that top 3 at the moment really have been in a class of their own today.
Yeah, it is, and Mark does put on the soft tire, so yeah, it's going to be really quick compared to the other guys. But yeah, the top 3 really get Isotopic, and to be honest, I expected Langfell to overtake him already, but he's really stuck behind Isotopic. So Isotopic is doing a great job again this race, holding on to P4, and yeah, maybe if something up front happens, maybe get another podium.
Yeah, he could be on for another podium, could Isotopic, if something happens at the front, like you say. I mean, we said at the start of the race that this is very dissimilar to Zandvoort in the way that people can't really pass at Zandvoort, but Isotopic was the cork in the bottle at Zandvoort, and he's now the cork in the bottle here as well. His Isotopic is, I think, if there's an award ceremony at the end of this season, he'll get the award for best defender, because he seems to be always at the front of the queue and no one can really overtake him. So he's done a great job in that Alfa Romeo once again to be at the front of the queue and not really come under too much pressure from drivers behind. Thor, meanwhile, in 6th place in the other Alfa Romeo. He's got good pace, but he's picked up, I would say, at least 4 or maybe 5 penalties in this race. So he's going to drop a lot of places just on time penalties alone. Mark now in 10th on the soft tyre, so he's another one to look out for, along with Lighty. They're going to have a lot of grip and a lot of speed at the end. They could really break up this queue of cars in front and work their way maybe to a 4th place finish if they're fast enough at the end.
Yeah, they can, but Lighty isn't catching Steve as
Bircher,
fast as
sorry to jump in. Bircher around the outside of Thor, coming down into turn 4. He's so late on the brakes as Bircher, trying to get the move done for 6th place. He's round the outside, he's got the grip and some overtake as well in order to keep the move. Thor tries to get down the inside. Look how late on the brakes Thor was, but it's a bit too late on the brakes for the corner. Bircher up into 6th place once again, doing a really good job of slicing his way through the field methodically up into 6th. Can he catch now Langfell and Isotopic for 5th and 4th place?
Yeah, and is he gonna end up in 4th again, just outside of the podium?
I don't know what he would do if he ends up in 4th place again. That man is absolutely cursed to that position. He must be so frustrated that he's been 1 place off a podium, I think at least on 4 occasions this season. And if he ends up in 4th once again, then at the moment he's doing a very good job of winning the battle for 3rd in the championship. He's well clear of Mashiro, but obviously Mashiro will be finishing ahead of him barring any mistakes in this race. And he's a bit behind Sir Johnson F1 AMG as well, so he's doing a good job. But Thor back down the inside of turn 3. There's not a lot of room there, though. There's a very late dive from the Alfa Romeo man. It's not worked. Steve not quite close enough to capitalise, though, on that one from Thor. Thor's on his overtake, but he hasn't got any overtake left to try and get the move done on Bert. He looks down the inside of turn 4. Bert leaves him the room. I'm amazed that Bert left him any room for the inside of that corner. He's down the inside. Thor's got the run coming up to the next corner. Can Bircher hold on to the place on the inside? Thor really turns in on Bircher. Bircher well held from the Haas man. That was well held to keep the car pointing in the right direction. But that was too aggressive from Thor. That move wasn't really on for him. And he turned across Bircher, and Bircher's lost 2 places because of it.
Yeah, really well held. I don't think Bircher's going to be happy with the manner he was overtaken by Thol. The corner before that, he really left the space, and I wanted to say really clean battling from these guys, really respecting each other, leaving the space, even where Bircher didn't really have to leave the space. I mean, he was in front of him and he could have closed the door, but yeah, I think Bircher's not going to be happy with this one.
Definitely not. He drops behind Steve. And one thing to look out for here, Mark has caught these guys already. Look how late Mark was on the brakes there for turn 3. He nearly actually got caught off guard by how late he was on the brakes, and he nearly passed Bircher in the process. Lighty's only 1.1 off the back of this queue as well, as now Steve's trying to get moved on Thor. Round the outside of turn 4 once again. He's on the hard tyres trying to go around the outside. Steve gets up into 6th place, so after struggling at the start of the stint on the hards, it looks like the hards are now coming into their own. Thor once again trying to go around the outside of the next corner, but he's not ahead of Steve this time. Steve gets the move done, he's up into 6th place, and now it looks like the pendulum is swinging between the medium and the hard tyres. Steve and Langfell getting a move on, and Steve's up into 6th place.
Yeah, it's coming close to the crossover point, I think. Hard tyres are coming into play, and up front, Mashiro caught up with T. Jonas, and F1 AMG is a little bit behind that, still out of DRS, but I'm wondering if T. Jonas and Mashiro are going to work together to stay F1 to get F1 AMG to stay out of the DRS.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll work together, like you say, if they'll work together. Thor's gone round, yeah, Thor's hit the wall. I wonder if that'll be a safety car, as Langfell down the inside of Isotopic at turn 3. He's got the move done this time, so Isotopic can't hold on to 4th any longer. Langfell in the Williams is up to 4th place. Good move from him, and the hard tyre pendulum swings once again. He's now ahead of Isotopic. Mark's past Bircher in all this, so Mark's up into 7th, and he's now on the back of Steve for 6th. Mark could be on for a 4th place finish here, despite the chaos that happened on the first lap.
Yeah, yeah. So great driving from him, and he's really catching these guys really quickly, and he can brake so late. He's got so much grip in the corners, and the car's just getting lighter and lighter. So it's gonna stay for this like this for a while for him, I think.
Yeah, and it's bizarre that for such a short track with so few corners, that fresh tyres are such an advantage around here, and it goes to show with Mark's speed. Steve picks up a time penalty, and this doesn't look like any contest at all. Mark breezes past down into turn 1. Steve has nothing to fight with. Mark down the inside, and he's back on the racing line for the corner. Does he get a good run out of the corner? He does as well, so I don't think Steve's going to be close enough, and Steve doesn't battle it, so Mark's up into 6th, and he's only 2 seconds off this battle for 4th place at the moment, so Mark could be on for a 4th place here. Barring anything happening at the front, he could be on for a podium, but the top 3 now 8.5 seconds clear of Langfell in 4th place. What you were saying earlier on, though, about Mashiro and Jonas working together to keep F1 AMG behind, it would be smart of them to do so, but I think at this point, F1 AMG is just waiting. I think he knows that he has the tyre advantage, and we're getting to that point in the race now where the medium tyres are really going to start to fall off, and he has the tyre advantage, and he can just cruise up to the back of these guys, use the momentum that he has, and just get past them very quickly.
Yeah, that could be the thing as well. I mean, it's just 1.3 seconds now. He's closing in really slowly, but still he's closing in on them. And especially T. Jonas is, of course, 16 lap of medium tires now, or going into his 16th lap. So yeah, I wonder when they are going to get off. And T. Jonas is out of ERS as well, so it's going to play a factor, I think.
Yes, we've got Lighty and Birch side by side through turn 1. Birch just holds it round the outside of the corner, but Lighty's going to have a run up to turn 3. Has he got the straight line speed to do so? He's got no ERS at all, but I don't think Bircher has either. Lighty to the outside of turn 3 this time round. Can he get the move done on the Hassman? He's through. Bircher doesn't fight it. Bircher backs out of the corner. Lighty up into 8th place. This is definitely Lighty's best race of the season so far. It's really, really good to see. We know he has good pace and he's really struggled so far, but it's great to see him in the top 8 fighting for good points.
It is, and Mark already catched Isotopic. It was 2 seconds behind, and he's in 4 or 5 tenths now, so he's really flying. Wow.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. Yeah, like you say, anyone watching this who's in Division 4 and 5 like yourself, Conti, I think it goes to show that the alternate strategy is very powerful here, because the speed that Mark has compared to the guys around him is absolutely crazy. Let's see if Mark can get past Isotopic quickly enough to challenge Langfell for 4. He's on the overtake, he's looking to the inside of turn 1. He's got the momentum. Does Isotopic leave in the space? Is Mark late enough on the brakes? They're very even in the braking zone, but Isotopic leaves him space. Mark's up the inside, and Mark is now through into P5. So Mark cruises up to the back of the guys, and then just puts the move on immediately, gets the move done, and there's then on to the next person, and he's still within DRS range of Langfell in front. So Mark looks dead set really here to finish P4.
Yeah, I think so. It's only 7 tenths to Langfell on 16 lap, all the hard tires, so he's definitely gonna close in fast and probably gonna overtake him in 2 laps, I think, 1 or 2 laps. Great job on him, and what you said, the ultimate strategy is really powerful around Austria.
Yeah, definitely is. It's worked out well for him despite not having the pace on the hard tyres at the start of the race. He's managed to come back really well in this race from a lot of damage at the start, so a top 4 for him. Being 4th from 5th on the grid, despite what happened on lap 1, would still be a good result for Mark, who's languishing at just outside the top 10 in points at the moment. This will be his best result really since Vietnam, so he's definitely going to be wanting this as a confidence booster going into the next rounds. We'll run on board with him still as he goes up to turn 1. Let's see whether he is close enough to Langfell to take 4th off the Williams man. Good for them in the constructors as well. Renault needs some points here after Caesar's DNF, and Mark just going to cruise past through turn 2, coming up to turn 3. Langfell has absolutely nothing to fight with. He doesn't fight it at all. Mark up into 4th place.
Yeah, so much overspeed on the straight there. It's just incredible. And yeah, Langfeld, I think he's doing the right thing not to fight it, because it's only going to cost him time and gives Isotopic the momentum to maybe pass him. So yeah, I think he hopes he can stay behind Mark now and just stay in his DRS to finish on P5.
Yeah, we've also got 4 laps to go in this race when they cross the line, so it's not over yet that Mark's tyres could fall off themselves as well. They'll have to do 12 laps in this race as a total, so they could reach the end of their tyre life pretty quickly. Looking at the front of the field, F1 AMG looks like he's starting to make his move. He's 3 tenths behind Sejonis. Actually, we've missed it. Mashiro's past Sejonis somewhere. We completely missed it watching Langfell and Mark. Mashiro snuck past the Williams man and into the lead. I think Sejonis has reached his tyre life, because look at that, he's been passed, he has no ERS, and Mashiro's nearly a second clear as F1 AMG looking down the inside for turn 3. Not quite close enough, but he's got a lot of ERS to use. Coming now down towards turn 4, F1 AMG is going to want to try and get this move done as quickly as possible so that Mashiro doesn't disappear. He's going to look to the inside for turn 4. He's going to breeze past his championship rival really late on the brakes. Can he get that one stopped? He can. F1 AMG up into second. Sejonis, it was worth the gamble pitting. I don't think it was worth the gamble pitting so early. It's not paid off. He's dropped into 3rd from 1st place.
Yeah, that just shows it was too many laps for the medium tires, and I'm not surprised if F1 AMG gets Mashiro as well. And on the meantime, you were watching the battle between T. Jonas and F1 AMG. Leidy just made a mistake, spun around, and it's in P10 now.
Oh, and he has got damage to his front wing as well. That is such a shame for Leighty that he's picked up that damage. He's still going in this race, so he'll probably come into the pit lane and put a set of soft tyres on to finish the race off on. He'll come out probably behind Jan, who's in 12th place at the moment, so he'll come back out in 12th. So if he can put a set of soft tyres on and maybe challenge for the fastest lap. That is such a shame for Leighty that he's picked up that damage, though, so late in the race from what could have been a top 10 finish for him. At the front of the field, though, F1 AMG's already caught Mashiro. They're already 4 tenths. It's already 4 tenths between the pair of them, so F1 AMG's right on the back of the Red Bull man. He's not close enough, though, into turn 4 this time round to make a move stick. Not quite close. Can Mashiro hold on for his 2nd race win in a row? Can F1 AMG win after a week off last time round? At the moment, the championship's swinging back towards F1 AMG. It was towards Sejonis last time out, and they're equal on points coming into this one. But Sejonis' strategy hasn't worked out, and he's losing speed rapidly compared to these guys. And actually, Mark, on the last lap, I think was 2 seconds faster than Sejonis. So if Sejonis' tyres go off any more than they already are, it's not out of the question that Mark could take P3 here.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to happen, but yeah, it really can. I mean, Sejonis has really lost his pace, and he's really struggling on these medium tires now. And I hope he can get them to the end, because overall he drove a great race. All of these guys did, but he's really struggling now. And I hope Sean doesn't get disqualified, because I've seen his name with a 3-second time penalty so many times this race. So I hope he can finish.
Yeah, fingers crossed that he's able to get to the end of the race without disqualifying. F1 AMG looking to the inside. Mashiro's down, is keeping it to the left-hand side. Mashiro didn't defend that one. I don't know if Mashiro didn't see that one coming, but F1 AMG breezed down the inside coming into turn 4. Mashiro put up no fight, so F1 AMG, with a lap to go, timed it to absolute perfection. What a strategic masterclass this has been for an F1 AMG, hanging back, saving the tyres, having the fresher tyres, and he's just breezed past Mashiro and Jonas at the end of this race into the lead of the race. This is why this man has been the championship leader for pretty much the whole season, because of performances like this. It's been absolutely brilliant, and he's nearly broken that DRS to Mashiro already as we start the final lap. Where has this race gone? It's completely flown by in these last 10 laps or so. Jono's picked up the fastest lap of the race. He's 13th with a 1 minute 4.8. That's a great lap from him to pick up fastest lap for the time being. Jan and Flores have meanwhile, they're fighting for the final spot in the top 10 at the moment, so it's all action throughout the field. But we'll ride with F1 AMG and Mashiro as they finish off the lap. Can Mashiro get close enough into turn 4 to challenge F1 AMG? I don't think it's going to happen. He doesn't really have the ERS to attack, and he doesn't have the tyres to attack either. F1 AMG absolutely timed it to perfection. He's ahead, and he's going to stay ahead down into turn 4, and there's not really any overtaking opportunities from here on out. So F1 AMG leads now ahead of Mashiro. They're now 3 seconds clear of Jonas. So Jonas is, even if there's a penalty for either of the guys in front of him, he's out of penalty window here. He's lost so much time on these medium tyres, it just hasn't worked for him.
Yeah, and if he has a penalty and Mark doesn't, Mark could steal the final podium, P3 away from him. So yeah, the tires really were going off, and F1 AMG just master strategic. He was 6 seconds behind starting the stint, and he won the race now.
Oh, he hasn't won the race though. He crosses the line, but he had a 3-second time penalty. So Mashiro, that's probably why Mashiro didn't fight it then. So Mashiro picks up the race win from F1 AMG, who had a time penalty. Looking further down the field, Langfeld picks up 4th from Mark on time penalties by a 1/10 of a second. Mark misses out on 4th over Langfeld on debut, 4th place. Great result from him. Isotopic crosses the line in 6th, ahead of Steve in 7th, Birchie in 8th, ahead of Sean in 9th place. Good race for him. It's Jan just ahead of Flores, I think, for 10th place in the end. Jan's going to pass Flores on the final lap to pick up that final spot in the top 10. Obviously, we run an alternate point system, so Flores will still pick up points in this race. Here comes Jan to the line then. He crosses the line in 10th place ahead of Flores, who's going to be... Actually, no, he steals back 10th based solely on penalties. So both AlphaTauris in the top 10. Good result for them. Lighty's going to be the last person to cross the line in 12th place. Sorry, what could have been for him? He was running in the top 10. But in the end, we were talking about F1 AMG's masterclass, but he picked up a time penalty in all of that. and it is Mashiro that takes his 2nd race win in a row. Yeah,
so actually, masterclass from Mashiro, just letting him pass, and he obviously knew about the penalty of F1 AMG, and yeah, great result again, second win in a row.
2nd win in a row, yeah. So coming into Canada, he had such a poor season, but now it's starting to ramp up for Mashiro. He was up to 4th in the championship before this one. I imagine he'll probably be up to 3rd in the championship after this race. He's now, I would say, a feasible championship contender.
He definitely is, and some little cracks are showing on F1 AMG. I thought he was for sure gonna win this championship, and he did make a mistake so far. Was unlucky in Vietnam. But yeah, great. It's closing up again.
It is closing up again. So Mashiro wins the race ahead of F1 AMG in 2nd. John is 3rd. Langfeld 4th. Mark 5th. Isotopic, Steve, Birches, Sean, Flores round off the top 10. Jan, Lighty and Jono were the rest of the finishers. Damon, Thule and Caesar did not finish the race in the end. They were down 14th, 15th and 16th, so they won't pick up points. Shame for Caesar, who retired at the end of lap 1. What could have been a good race for him, he's unfortunately again not picked up points. But at the end of that race, I mean, I was going to say it was F1 AMG for driver of the day before. he shocked us by making a mistake and picking up a time penalty. So I'd probably say Mashiro for driver of the day. Who would you go for?
Yeah, it's going to be either Mashiro or Langfeld, because he had a great debut.
Yeah, definitely. He had a really, really good debut. First race, and he's 4th in this one. So even with Jay Bogan missing, Williams still pick up good points manufacturers-wise. That's good for them. Mercedes, they will pick up relatively good manufacturers' points, but Jan down in 10th is not going to be best for them. They're obviously battling the likes of Williams in the Manufacturers' Championship. Red Bull with a good result here as well, and another win for Red Bull means that they will be moving closer to the front of the championship in the manufacturers' standings going into round 7, which I can't remember which race is actually next on the calendar, but I mean, no matter what race we go to, it's always really a good one, isn't it? So it doesn't really matter. The next round that we go to is actually the Hungarian Grand Prix. So a completely different track next time out, more similar to Zandvoort, would you say?
Yeah, it is. It's a really, really technical track, hard to overtake. There's only just one real opportunity on the start-finish straight. Um, so yeah, it's going to be difficult to overtake there. So qualifying is going to be key there again.
Once again, yeah, if qualifying wasn't close enough today, I can't imagine what it's going to be like next time out. A lot of people are going to be trying to get that pole position so that they have the best race. And obviously, Hungary, if we pick up any rain, Hungary is a great race. I mean, in real life, Hungary has pulled off some absolutely stellar races in real life Formula One. So I imagine it will be another good race for us. But coming out of this one, it is going to be F1 AMG leading the championship ahead of Jonas, but not by a lot of points. And now Mashiro throws himself into that championship battle. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that if you have even a bad start to the season, a couple good races, and you're right back at the front again.
Yeah, if you just miss one race like F1 AMG did last week, people are gonna be closing up to you, and yeah, it's really key to keep performing week in week out in this league because it's especially at the top five, top six, pretty close between those guys.
Yeah, really, really close. So Mashiro throws himself into the championship battle after his second race win in a row. We were cursing him for 4 rounds of the season, and now we've stopped cursing him, so he'll be happy with that, and fingers crossed that the rest of the season goes like that for him, and we have a three-way championship battle for the lead. That would be great now. After 6 rounds of the season, it's now 3 people for the championship by the looks of things. Bircher lagging a little bit further behind, so that's looking the way it is for the rest of the season. But thank you again, Conti, for joining me in the comms box for Division 3. I believe you're racing for Division 4 and 5 tomorrow. I can't even remember which division you're in. My mind's gone completely blank.
Four. I'm racing
There
in
we
four
go.
tomorrow.
Division 4. So we got there in the end. I completely forgot. But I'm racing in Division 4 tomorrow. So good luck for you tomorrow. And you now know
Thank
the
you.
perfect strategy after that race.
Yeah.
You now know the absolute perfect strategy for this track. So fingers crossed that goes well for you. Thank you everyone for tuning in as well, into the stream, for commenting on the stream, for racing today as well. Tuning to League Racing TV for the rest of the week. Division 4 and 5, as I said, is tomorrow. That is tomorrow, Friday, 8 o'clock. That is when they will be racing. There is no CRC this weekend because the CRC Championships have finished. That CRC will be starting back up once again right at the end of the month. So that is when both championships will be back for them. That will be on Saturday. It will be a mix of 2 championships. It will be a touring car championship one week and then the Radical Championship the next week. And then on Sunday it will be IndyCar for its 2nd season in a row. So that will start up again at the end of September. So it's just racing tomorrow. So nothing on Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, once again, like I said, thank you for like I said, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. And we will see you again this time next week in Hungary for round 7 of the championship. From myself and Conti, it is goodbye.